Hi, hello, and welcome back to the next part in our Gold Making for Casuals mini-series. The series is for anyone that wants to make gold but doesn't really have an awful lot of time to invest. It's not their main priority and they don't want it to be their main priority. If you do want to make gold in a much more serious fashion, you can check out a ton of other guides that you can find on YouTube and on the internet. Google's your friend, but this one is purely for people who want to put in minimal effort, minimal time, and still make enough to hopefully pay for your subscription, because that's what I use it for. So last time we've already talked about your TradeSkillMaster options and your tooltips and setting those up. The links to those videos will be down below. And we've also talked about your quick sell and sniper options just to get you moving, get you starting to get familiar with the auction house. Today we're going to talk about groups, and then next time we're going to talk about operations, because they're the real meat of TSM and where it really starts to work for you. And it can sound a little confusing and it can take a little while to get your head around it, but I'm going to try and talk you through it as simply as I can. And if you just practice it and test it out yourself, you'll very quickly find that it's not as hard as it looks and sounds straight off the bat. And as soon as you've got it set up, then it does all the work for you and takes out masses of time from gold making. Okay, so first thing we're going to look at today is we're going to open up our TradeSkillMaster screen, just like we did last time. And we're going to go into groups, which is this blue crystal icon up here at the top. And you'll see I have a blank profile to show you how to do this. So we're going to start, and you're going to want groups are bins. Imagine big outdoor house bins. And you're going to put all of your items into these bins. You can have as many bins as you like, but you're going to divide your items up into groups that make sense to you. You're organizing your items, because if you have everything lumped into one group, you're going to have trouble, because you don't want to be selling pots in single stacks. Perhaps you don't want to be selling pots for 50 gold. You don't want to be selling transmog for 1 gold. You want to do different things with different items, and groups are going to help you do that. So you're going to divide everything that you want to be selling up into groups. And then we're going to attach operations to those groups, which is going to tell them what to do. But we're doing that next time. For now, all we're worrying about is getting your items into your groups. So you can set this up any way you want, and there's a few different ways you can go about it. But at the end of the day, it really depends on what you're selling. You're probably going to want to create a group for every different profession that you have, every different crafting profession that you have. But TSM is a fantastic program and makes that very, very easy for you to do. For example, let's open my leatherworking here. Oh, there it is behind there. And it didn't do it. Why did it not do it? Usually, this will pop up. This will be grayed out, and it will ask you, do you want to make groups for this profession? And you click yes, and it will automatically make a group called leatherworking for you with all of your leatherworking things already imported. It does it all for you. Because I've obviously clicked no on that previously and it's not coming up again, you can also go into TSM groups. You currently don't have any groups set up. And you can say create profession groups down here at the bottom. So if it doesn't come up, you just go into TSM groups, create profession groups. And there you go. Automatically professions has appeared, and under it you'll see leatherworking. And if you open up leatherworking, you've got both crafts, which are the things that you're making, and the materials you need to make them, which can be very, very useful. Because that's all the things that you need to make the things in your craft things. So we'll come back to that when we come to operations, but for now they're both there. Some people don't like having their materials all grouped together with their professions. If you only have 1, maybe 2 professions, it's fine to do it that way, because if this is the only profession that you have, they're the only materials that you need and it's sorted. But if you have 3 different professions that use ore, you can only have that ore in one of those groups. So it's not going to be there for all 3 of them. So it might be more useful if you have all or a lot of professions to put your materials into a separate group by themselves collectively, rather than dividing them up. Because when you automatically import these, it's going to create a materials group for each one. So you can probably probably do with taking all your materials out that you need and putting them into a group by themselves, just so you can search materials for all of your professions at once and have them all there and make sure you're getting everything, rather than things being missing. But the bit we're interested in is this crafts bit, because that is everything that you can craft with your leatherworking. We're going to talk about crafting that later, but for now it's all in there. It's all in that group. You can add things from your bags to it if you want, but you don't want to do that if it's just your leatherworking group. But you can do that for every profession that you have, and they'll all come under this professions tab here. You can see their subgroups. So that's that. That's how you do your profession groups. You probably also want to add a group for vendor trash or vendor run things. If you do those, I'm going to talk more about those next time, because I'm going to show you the ones that I add. I'm going to show you the runs that I do. So I create one for vendor trash. I also create one for transmog. You can create one for materials if you want to keep that separately. I usually do. Pets, mounts, toys. Really is entirely up to you what you want to be selling. You can make one for trash greens from the scrapyard. I usually just sell those via quick sell, but if you want to create a group for them, you can do that, and I'll explain later the benefit of creating a group for those. So you make one for greens, and you make one for events, for like snowballs and things from children's events. It really depends on you, what you do in the game, what you're selling in the game, and what you're interested in the game. Make groups that fit what you do, because there's no point having them if you don't. So it's entirely down to you. Like I said, you're setting out your bins and you're organizing your items into them in a way that appeals to you. Now, when you have all these groups, but all these groups are empty. See here, they're empty. There's nothing in them, and they're not going to do anything if there's nothing in them. So we need to put our items into them, and to do that we can do different things. So I'm just going to go to my transmog one here, and you see in my bags I have a ton of transmog stuff. I can pull those all into that group just by clicking them like this. Select as many as I want, and I can hit add, and they'll pop over into that group. But you will notice I have 3 Kabbalist chess pieces here, one of intellect, one of power, and one of the bear. That is only going to sell those 3. So if down the line I pick up a Kabbalist chess piece of the monkey, it's not going to sell that because it's not in my list. So you're probably better, if you want to do transmog and that kind of thing, to get your lists from Wowhead and import them with the group maker, which I'm going to show you in a minute, or to import a list someone else has already made. And Fatloots has made a fantastic transmog list. It's completely comprehensive. It's got pretty much every item. It might be too much for you, but if you want to import someone else's list, I'm going to show you how to do that as well, and it will save you all of this. But then again, you also, the list might be too large for you. It might be more than you want to sell, that kind of thing. So you have to decide where your line is and what your investment is. But it is the quickest and easiest way to get everything in there, even if it's not, you might want to go through it later and refine it, because you probably don't want to be buying everything that's in that list or flipping everything that's in that list. But yeah, that again is personal preference entirely. I can't tell you how to do that. This is how you add items to a group. So if down the line you find you've picked up an extra item and you want to put it into a group, just drop it in from your bags. This is how you do it. You just go into items tab here, click the item, drop it in. Just like that. You can also, if you make a mistake, move them back. Click them, move them back. It's absolutely no problem. So that is one way of adding items, just manually adding them from your bags. Another way of adding them is, like I said, finding them on Wowhead and adding them in that way. So I'm going to show you how to do that with materials. So here I have brought up a list of ore on Wowhead. I've just searched ore and it's got all of the ores here. Now obviously some other things have come up here, like this dagger. Is that a dagger? Yes, that's a dagger. And corium ore nugget, an ore shipment thing. We don't want those. So you have to go through this list and just highlight the ones that you want. So I'm just going to highlight all of these top ones here just for now. Yeah, we'll go down here to gold ore and just copy those. And then you want to go into your group maker. Now, this is the group maker page. You can find it up here on site, group maker, and it will bring you to this page. And what you want to do is you want to paste in that copy. So you pasted in all these ors now. They're all there, and that's fine. And this is your string. So give it a name, and call it or, give a description if you want, and click Save the Group. And that will give you this string, this import string, which you want to copy and go back to your thing. So we're in materials, we've got nothing in materials. We want to go into management first, and we want to create a new subgroup here. We're going to call it or, because we're going to make another one for bars, because the bars are obviously a bit more expensive than ors. So yeah, we're going to make or here, and then we're going to import. It says import items. You click this long box here and you just paste it in. Now I always select move already grouped items. This is going to pull any ors that you have already grouped. For example, in your professions, remember when you did professions and they brought up all the materials, any ors that were in that leatherworking group, probably not many, it's going to pull them out and put them in this. So you'll have all your ors together in this one place. So it's probably a wise idea to do this after you've imported all of your different professions, so that you can just pull them all out all in one go. And import only items from parent group. That's basically if you have everything already in materials and you only want to import the ones that are in materials, you can use that. But this is the one that I want to use because I want to pull all the ors from anywhere else that they might be. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to hit, close my bags, I'm going to hit OK here, and you'll see it has imported all of those ors into this group. So that's them all sorted now. So you can do the same as that with any other item. You can, like I said, it does take a while. This is the bit that takes a while. Unless you import someone else's profile, which we're going to talk about in a minute, this can take a while to fine tune as you want it. Like, or is not too bad to search because you can, like I said, they all come up when you search or. But if you're searching things like transmog, you're searching breastplate, chest plate, tunic, robe, you're searching lots of different things and you're having to pull out lots of different things, and it can take a bit of time, like hours and hours and hours. So my recommendation to you would be to import someone else's group, which I'm going to link in the blog post attached to this, and to just delete the bits that don't suit what you want to do. If any don't suit what you want to do. That would be my recommendation. Or just to dump, if you're not interested in transmog at all, just to dump your greens into one big group and get them sold. If you're only interested in crafting stuff, because, you should always be selling them, but you don't have to be selling them for transmog, specific things. And things like ore and herbs and stuff are much easier to search in groups like that, so it takes a lot less time. So that said, you've made all your groups. You can make subgroups as suits you. The reason you'd make subgroups is, for example, like I have leatherworking there. Now I'm going to attach to this leatherworking group, I'm going to attach different operations. Like I want to mail all the things that I make with leatherworking to my auction house alt. So I'm going to attach a mailing operation to this that's going to mail all of that to my AH alt so that I can sell it. But I don't want to be crafting, I want to be crafting maybe 5 leg armors, but I only want to be crafting 2 pieces of armor. So I could go into this and I could make subgroups and divide them. I put the leg armors in one subgroup and the actual armor in another subgroup, and then attach 2 different crafting operations to tell one group to craft 2 and one group to craft 5, if that makes sense. That's where subgroups come in useful to refine what you're doing with your items. And like for transmog, you can divide it up into plate or cloth and leather, or you could divide it up into price brackets for cheaper stuff and more expensive stuff. Entirely whatever works for you and how you want to be doing it. But that's the general idea. Use your subgroups to fine-tune your organization, just so you know where things are and you know what's doing what. And if you do need to go in and tweak something and change something, you know exactly where it is to do that. It's going to make it easier for you in the long run. When you get your groups sorted and you've got your imports, you know how to import things. And you can export your groups too. If you think you've made a really good group, you can export them and give them to your friends. But Import's the one we're working on for now. You can go into items themselves, you can see the items that are in the group, you can transfer more in or out. And then in operations is where the stuff happens. Now we're going to talk about this next time, but I just want to go through this with you to show you roughly where things are. To each group you can attach several different operations, and you can attach multiple versions of the operation. So you can attach multiple auctioning operations if you want to auction them in different ways. You can attach crafting operations, mailing operations, shopping operations, which is buying them, and vendoring operations. Now, I don't use warehousing, so I don't know it. So when we get to operations next week, I'm going to put in a link to a video for that one, because that's one that I'm not familiar enough with to educate you on, because I just simply don't use it. But yes, this is where you will add all your operations to each group. And then once that's done, that's it. That's the whole thing done, and it will just do everything else for you. So yeah, it takes a little bit of time to set up your groups and your operations, but once it's done, it's going to save you masses of time in the long run. For now, that's it. You've made your groups, all the groups that you want to have, and you have imported your items or moved your items in, or created your lists in GroupMaker and imported them yourself. Management is just where you can rename groups, delete groups, create new subgroups. So we've gone through all of that now. And that's it. That's pretty much all there is to do with groups. And you can get your own groups set up as you like for next time. Like I said, when I do the blog post for this, which you'll find a link to directly below, I will include a link to Vatloot's transmog list, which is, I think, the best transmog list out there. I think a guy called Keelhaul also does a transmog list. I'll see if I can source that one for you as well. And I know that Shreya and Zionic, whose names I'm probably butchering, do a really excellent full TSM profile. I'll just give you a glance at it now, let's see, because it's the one that I use. But it is very, very extensive, and it might be too much. Shreya's TSM profile. It might be too much if you're just beginning, but yeah, as you can see, she has included absolutely everything you can think of. It's a fantastic profile, but it's very complex. It might be too much for your first time, but if you're feeling very brave, I will throw the link to Shreya's down below. It is a fantastic profile, and if you want, you can go through it and delete the bits that you're not using or don't want to use, and cut it down to just what you think you can handle. If you want, that's totally fine. But yeah, so shout out to those people for being awesome enough to share their profiles with everybody. And I will link them below. That's it for this part. I shall see you again next time to talk about operations. If this has helped, let me know. If you have any questions, let me know. I will get back to you next time. Thanks and good luck. Bye.